Some good elements of poster design that you can bring with you when you're designing your poster for your word processing marks. Um, let's start off by looking at this notice board, and what you can see is many different kinds of posters. Some are well designed, some are not so well designed. And the idea is that we ultimately get you a result that you're happy with and something that you're proud of, and that you're happy to place it up in your place of work or around your neighbourhood or in your community centre. Here's another example of billboards with different kinds of posters, large and small. So, the purpose of your poster you need to think about. What are you making it for? Who is your target audience? Where are these people going to see it? Where are they going to read the information? And how much time do they have? And how much information you're going to be able to squeeze onto the size that you're designing for. So, for example, here's two posters. These are potentially in a retail environment. The one on the left is using delicate, classy font that maybe won't grab attention instantly, like the larger, bolder font does on the right. And the other great thing about the one on the right is it's simple, it's very clear, simple elements, nice shapes, blocky design, and you can see it from afar. These ones are ones that are typically up on the back of a toilet door, for example. So the reader may have time to go through all the information listed. So the amount of information that you're going to put on your poster is depending on the size you're working with, the position of it, and the length of time that the viewer is expected to read it. So, for example, this is a billboard. It's being read from afar. So there's no point putting a lot of information on this, even though you have a lot of space. You need to consider the amount of time that people are going to be reading it. So it may even just be a second or two. So this one would be a lot more effective for the reader than the one before. See the way it has a lot more information, and this one has a lot less information, but the same sort of elements are there. You've got the modern home, you've got the 70% off, and the chair, and this one, modern home, 70% off on the chair, but then they've got rid of all the other text. Here, for example, is an Instagram post. You've got a very small amount of size to text on, or to put your text on. So you may want to simplify your message. And this is your billboard, maybe on a bus stop. So it might be more appropriate to put more content on a bigger space where someone has time to read the information. Whereas on Instagram, people generally have a couple of seconds looking at your post. So you need to remember some elements from general to specific. Before you get into the details like fonts and images, you want to decide where you're placing your main elements, your title, your pictures, and then some key pieces of information, the relationship between the elements so that it flows. And from a distance, the viewer should be able to understand the mood of the poster, the theme, or the key message from a distance. Then add your elements and change your fonts after you've done all that. Don't get stuck designing a fun, cute title font for hours. So this is where you're deciding your layout. You've got your main title at the top, and you've got your body of text, your image, and then maybe some contact information. You've got your logo and your tagline. You can just decide where they'll all lay out on the page. You want to also decide the relationship between the elements so that it's creating visual flow, so that they can understand the mood or the message, the main message. So the other massive thing you need to remember is the hierarchy. So deciding what people should see first, then second, then third. And you're not creating too many levels. Maximum of 5. So usually around 3 is the best thing. Otherwise it becomes too challenging for the viewer, too overwhelming, too confusing. Ensure there's a difference between the different elements. So usually font size, and each level has the same font size. You'll understand what I mean now shortly. And don't add different elements, textures, fonts, and flourishes, as it will distract and overwhelm the viewer. So we've got a main title here on the left, and then we've got the secondary elements there on the right. Then you've got your different levels of fonts. So level 1 is a large font. Level 2 is a less large, but still large font. Level 3 is going again a bit smaller. Level 4, smaller again. And the level 2 fonts are exactly the same font size. So you see here for the $45 at the bottom right, it's the same font size and style as the level 2 30th of April. And then you've got your level 3s are the same and your level 4s are the same. So just remember to try and keep those levels the same for the hierarchy. The other thing that you need to remember is connection and making sure that all the elements are connected. You can overlap elements, but make sure they're readable. You use the same style, same font, same color, same shapes. There's different ways of connecting the same elements together. Link sections with small elements, you can mediate between them. I'll show you what that means in a minute. And you can use your additional details. They're not usually just for decoration, they're used to connect the elements together. And you want to make sure that the elements are on the same team, they're supporting each other, and they're not competing for attention. So, for example, you've got on the left side disconnected elements, different fonts, different styles, different spacing. So, all these elements, all these different paragraphs have got different styles of fonts, and it's a little confusing to the reader. The middle example, all's using the same fonts, but they're just different sizes. And on the right, you've got different fonts, the same color. So that's one way of connecting everything together, is just by using the same color. Then you've got a way of bringing everything together or connecting them together is putting same shapes or text background for the different elements or the different paragraphs. And then another one is you can just connect with little wavy lines, and that just shows a connection between all the different information you're displaying on the poster. So it's a way to kind of mediate between them. And they're not just for decoration, they're for connection of key elements or the paragraphs that you can see here, the photograph and the title and the subtitles. So there is one big element at level 1, which is the focal point. Then you've got 2 secondary elements in this example. We'll look at straight after the first element. Then you've got the third element at level 3, which will be looked after the second, and so on. You get the idea. So you can see in this example that these elements are supporting each other and they're not competing for competition. They're all working together nicely. This is an example of a Japanese poster, and even though there isn't a focal point really on this one, they have achieved a cohesiveness or a rhythm through repetitive elements and features. There's the same color, black and white, there's similar shapes, and the font direction's all the same. So the poster does feel cohesive, even though it doesn't have a particular focal point. So the other massive thing to remember is font size contrast. It really sets to help the hierarchy. It helps to create interest, and remembering that your different levels are dramatically different in size to each other. So make sure the font hierarchy levels are at least twice smaller than each other. So in the example here, the big title is at 160, then half of that is 80, so colors that speak, and then less than half again is the color is more than decoration paragraph. So you can see the idea, level 1, level 2, level 3. Make sure there's a big difference between the different level fonts in your hierarchy. This is an example of the same content but being designed in a different way. And the font is exactly the same in each of these posters, but they've just played with the different layout and placements of the text. I thought that was very interesting to see the effect. You don't have to do very much. It's just changing where the texts are and the sizes of them. Here's another example, same content. I thought that was very interesting to see. So an example of a really poorly designed poster is the one on the left. You can see there's a very confusing layout. You're not really sure what you should be reading first. Free webinar, mixing fonts, and then about, you're like, what? It's a bit confusing. You're not sure where to look first. And it's very inconsistent. There's no cohesion there. There's no connection there. There's no harmony between anything there. Whereas on the right side, you've got the same content, but just designed with the elements that I mentioned before. So you've got the free webinar is the biggest font, so that's level 1. And then you've got Come to My About Mixing Fonts on April, Saturday, 7 UK time. That's all level 2. Maybe level 2, April, that one down the bottom, that's italicized, but it's the exact same font they've used and the same size font. And also then there's different font sizes for level 3 and level 4 for sign up by the link in bio. Just wants to give you an example of badly designed and then designed well with the same content. I got a lot of my information from Maria Toker. She's a graphic designer. She's a really good YouTube video that I got all this information from. She goes into a lot more detail and you can follow the link there. And then she's also developed exercises to develop your design skills, if that was the thing that really excited you. But for us, all we really need to do is something very simple. It's task 3 of the collection of work. It's a poster for 5 marks. So remember, it's 5 marks, so don't get too worried about it. I'm going to show you some examples of student work. So the main thing, I've underlined it, I've bolded it, is use the PC version of Word, as the online version can be quite frustrating to use. The poster must have the following elements for full marks. It can be A4, portrait or landscape. You need to insert an image and change it. Insert alt text for accessibility. I'll explain now in a minute. You can, you have to put in a shape and modify the shape. You have to put in word art, text box with text and modify the text. And then you need to save the poster as a PDF. So here's some examples of previous students' work so you can see what they've done really well and what they missed out on. So this particular student put in loads and loads of shapes, modified the shapes, layered them, coloured them, and stretched them. So there's different kinds of shapes all over this poster. She inserted an image, the Dublin City Council image logo, and then she inserted a statue poster, image. And then she modified those by making them a bit bigger and then making them into a square shape. She has alt texted on the image. So when you right click on the image, it describes what it is in case somebody who is partially sighted or blind and they don't know what the picture is, it's described to them what that is. So you need to add that in. And sometimes it automatically adds it in for you. And then you need to put a text box in. So the big green thing in the middle is a text box with the words added into it. And the only thing that was missing from this poster was a word art. So no kind of heading, no main title to describe what this poster is for. And then I also find that the text is quite small in the text box, so it needs to be modified, increased in size, font changed a little bit so that it's more easy to read from a distance. So this one would have been about 4 out of 5 marks. This is a really good poster, nice design, nice layout, really calm, very consistent fonts throughout. And we had a little bit of fun with the colours. I had fun with his emojis and icons. So everything is great here, apart from the fact that there was no shape inserted into it and no modified shape. So if you even just put a rectangle in behind the Join Your Fellow Students section, or a rectangle behind the whole page, so almost creating a frame, he would have got full marks for this one. So this was just another 4 out of 5. And this is an example of a 5 out of 5, even though it's not amazing in terms of the design. It does contain all the elements that are necessary for full marks. It has the word art and the Wizard of Oz here. It has the modified text, so she's changed the text in the text box, she's bolded it, she's made it capitalized, and she's added shapes. These 3 yellow bricks are shapes that she's changed the color of, and she's modified, as in she's moved them on the page and placed them in a sort of brick pattern. She's inserted the image of the movie night and she modified it by stretching it out to make it a nice large size. And she has the alt text on the image as well. Can't quite show that at the moment. And then there is text in the text box and that's modified and she's printed it to PDF. So this is a full mark example. Okay, time to demo. Let's start by finding Word on our computer, typing in Word and clicking on the app. So we need a blank document and we need to go to layout and change the margins to narrow, or you can go completely zero if you want. So remember, we are trying to work out what the purpose of this poster is. And I'm going to make a Halloween poster for my local community centre. It's a kids disco and they're coming in fancy dress. And it's on Friday the 13th of October at 4 to 5 p.m. So let's put that information into a text box. So I'm going to insert a text box, a simple one. So there's my main information I'm trying to communicate. So not too much text, so I can have fun with pictures and I can have fun with the heading. So the next thing I'm going to put in are shapes, because I know I'm getting marks for shapes. So I'm going to pick this one. So I went to insert and I went to shapes. And then I'm just going to draw, so holding down on my mouse and pulling outwards. So I'm going to draw one. Actually, I want to make it a tiny bit smaller, so grab the corner there. I'm going to press Control C and then Control V, which copy and paste on my keyboard. I'm going to just flip this around because I want one to go down into this corner and drag it up. And then I want to put this one in that corner and drag it down. Nice punchy basic image there. Now you notice that the text box disappeared, so if you see that happen, you can send the shape that I clicked on backwards, which means it sort of layers it like pieces of paper. The other thing we can do is get rid of the outline of my shape. I'm going to keep it nice and simple. So double click on the shape, make sure it knows what I'm talking about. Go to shape outline and say no outline. So you have to click on the object on the page before the computer knows what you're talking about. So make sure you click on it before you change the thing, because it won't know what you mean. No outline again. And then I'm going to change the color of the shape to a nice Halloweeny orange. I might do a green on this one. I don't know, I might change my mind. So far we have inserted a shape, we've modified the shape, we've inserted a text box, we haven't done any modification of text box yet. Next, I'm going to insert a word art because I know that's one of my marks. So go to Insert, Word Art. I'm going to choose this one, see if it works or not, and go. So I like that. It's all right. If I want to change the look and feel of it, I can do this, I can do that, I can just hover over and then it changes. Might do this. Okay, but I want it to go blue. So text fill, change it to green. Okay, and then I want it to be a bit bigger. So I'm going to go home and then press big, and then it makes it bigger, this A here, so big A and little a. Or you can just manually change the size using the numbers beside it in the font section of the home ribbon. Okay. So the other thing we can do with Word Art, which is quite cool, if we go to Shape Format, Text Effects, Transform, I like this one, Curvy, and then we can change the curviness of the title itself, and then I can move it slightly. Now I'm going to try and select this text box and move it.
and select my fancy dress disco one and move it. Now this guy, I need to layer him, so back to shape format and bring forward this time. I'm going to worry about him in a minute. Let's get all the elements we're going to get marked for first. So we have a word art, we have a shape, we've modified the shape. Let's stick in a picture. So let's go to insert, is how we insert a picture. Go to pictures. I'm going to choose a stock image, but you could also get one from your computer or your phone, or you could also use the online gallery. I use that a lot as well. So I'm going to go to stock images and choose illustrations, look for pumpkin. I'm going to choose this one and say insert. Now, when you insert a picture, the first thing you should always do is right click on the actual thing that you've popped in. Go to wrap and choose tight. At that point, you're able to move it around and it plays nicely with all the other elements on the poster. So that's the picture put in. Now, modified means we change size slightly, or you can copy and paste it and then maybe stick a few more pumpkins beside each other. So that's another way of modifying it. So I'm going to stick in the text box down here, get rid of the title because I already have that. So let's modify the text. So a quick menu pops up with most commonly used up here. If that doesn't work, go up to home. It's the same menu, but just you have a few more options. So I like using the big and going until I'm kind of happy. Nice and big. It's going to be on the notice board, so it looks good. I want the background to be white, or sorry, to be green. So I'm going to right click on the shape. It's not working. Hang on a second. Right click on the actual shape I'm on. And if you go to format shape, so this is the text box, fill, no fill. And also I don't want a line. Line, no line. So now my text appears like this. Another way you can modify text is changing its location. So I've just centered it there by using the paragraph settings up the top. So I might do tiny bit bigger. Another quick thing, I mean, this is full marks, all right, as it is. I've got a shape, I modified it, I changed the color, and I moved it, and I also flipped it, I also stretched it. I put a picture in, and I put a text in. So this is full marks. But just if you wanted to know another cool, handy way of getting a picture, I just typed in this into Google. So kids fancy dress cartoon. I went to images. It shows these. Just to be aware, some images are licensable, which means that you'd have to pay to use them. See there? Licensable. We don't want that one. We want free ones. So I did see a cute one here. So let's say I love these. I love using Shift Windows key S. That's your snipping tool. You already know how to use this. But I like to just grab logos off company websites or any pictures that I quite like for my project. I'm going to click on the page and then press paste. Now there he is hiding behind the shape. Now remember, always wrap tight, and then he behaves himself. So you can actually make the background transparent, so you can actually double click on the picture. When you double click on an object on the page, the picture format menu appears, and I'm going to transparency. I actually usually go color, set transparent color, and then I click on the background. Sometimes it works great, sometimes it doesn't. Anyway, you get the idea. That little dude is kind of cute. Oh yes, I forgot about the alt text. So we need to right click on the picture that we have inserted and do view alt text. So just right click, view alt text, and then it says 2 pumpkins. And you could say 1 orange and 1 grey. See the way it automatically does it for you, which is nice and handy. Otherwise, type it in, what it is. So this is the idea behind that is anyone hard of sight or blind, they would like to know what was on the poster, what it looks like. And through lots of new technological advances there, they actually can have the computer read to them what the poster is. So that's a way of being accessible. Okay, I think I've done everything apart from saving. So let's say I'm happy enough with this. We'll just zoom out a little bit and have a look. Yeah, looks fine. Maybe move that shape down slightly. He's happy. Okay, file, save as, this PC. So save it to your PC for now, and then we will upload it to your OneDrive at the end. So I always go this PC desktop. And I'm going to call it poster. Save to the desktop. Okay, now I'll also save it as a PDF. So save a copy. It's going into my desktop. And this time, instead of a Word document, I just clicked on it. I'm choosing PDF. Save. So now I can see a Word version on my desktop, and I can see a PDF version of the Halloween poster. So you can see the file type is written here. So it's a Word document, and it's also a blue and white logo with the little W. And then it's a PDF document, and that one is red logo with a little white page behind. So that's how you know you've saved it as two different file types, a PDF and a Word doc or a doc. And here is where you see the breadcrumb trail of where it's saved. I hope that helps.